Morning, guys. Sorry I'm not here today, but we're still going to try to run our day as if I were, starting with your warm-up. So if you haven't already, go grab your binders and open up your warm-ups to the green pages from yesterday. The date today, it's Tuesday, October 4th. I do want you to actually write down the 3 highlighted statements, so if you need to pause to do that, please do so now. For today's warm-up, what I am trying to go through is just see if you know some conversions, because that's what we're working on today. So a conversion is when 2 things are actually equal, but we're using different units or different labels. So the first question says 1 week equals blank days. Now, if you can already fill in the answers for your warm-up, do so, and then you can just check your answers in just a moment. Well, 1 week is the same as 7 days. And so these are representing the same amount of time, but when I say different units or different labels, I'm referring to using the unit of week versus the unit of days. Let's do it again for the other 2 questions. 1 day equals 24 hours. And your last one, 1 hour equals blank minutes. Well, that's 60 minutes. So it's still representing the same amount of time, but different units. I'm either talking about hours versus minutes or days versus hours. In your planners at this time, open up your planners and write down complete Lesson 9 worksheet. That's the abbreviation for worksheet, WKST, due Thursday. So this is the worksheet that should have been passed out to you already by the guest teacher. But if it hasn't been, please pause the video and ask the guest teacher to pass that out for you. I am going to do a planner check tomorrow, so I expect to see this written down. I'm going to scroll now just to show our agenda. So here's our plan for today, even though I'm not here. We did our warm-up. Hopefully you've just written in your planners. Then the next thing we're going to do is our actual lesson. So we're actually taking notes today. And then you're going to work on the homework. Again, the homework is the worksheet that should have been passed out to you. If it helps, it is an orange worksheet. If you finish your worksheet, then you can work on Dreambox, but your homework needs to come first. So at this time, take out a piece of paper and fold into 4s. I'm going to pause my video to get our notes ready. Okay, so at this time you should have a piece of paper folded into 4s. We're going to get started now with our title. So across the top of your page, you need to write Lesson 9 Unit Conversions. In box 1, yes, you need to write down all 3 steps. I know that's a lot of writing for right now. It's okay to pause your video and copy it all down. Okay, inside your yellow box, you should have all 3 steps written down, because this is how we're going to work on converting. We're going to convert from one set of units to another, or from one label to another. Step 1 says, use the conversion resource and find the conversion that matches the units you are given in the problem. Step 2 says, set up a multiplication rate conversion. Remember, a rate looks like a fraction. So we're going to be writing something as a fraction. Well, below step 2 is how our problem is going to look when we start to do the work. We start with the starting amount / unit. So that's going to be given to us in the problem. Then we say times, and when this little fraction, this rate that says new units over starting units, this is specifically coming from our conversion chart, so the conversion resource. If that has not been passed out to you, please pause the video now and ask the guest teacher to do that. Then step 3, we are going to multiply the numerators, so that means the tops. That would be the starting amount and the new units. And then we divide by the denominator. And remember, that's the bottom. So what we're doing when we divide by the denominator is we're really just making a unit rate, but with a different unit. So we're going from one set of labels to another set of labels. Okay, let's keep going. Let's go into box 2. So inside box 2, you have example 1, part A, part B. Now what I want you to do right now is actually write down, here you don't even have to have that yet. Write down everything in yellow and write down what I'm pointing to. You might need to pause the video to do that, and please do so now. These are the only 2 problems that are going to be in box 2. So let's go through it. Part A says convert 36 quarts to gallons. Okay, so we should have drawn a label pointing to the 36 quarts, and I want you to write starting units. That's the first thing they're telling us. It's where we start to begin with. And when it's telling us to convert to, which are gallons, those are called our new units. So to write down the work for this problem, we begin with our starting units. So below the problem, we're going to write 36 quarts. Now the abbreviation for quarts is QTS, so I'm going to use that now. So I'm going to start with 36 quarts, and then we say times, and the new units here, we have to make a fraction or a rate. Now what's important is that the bottom of our fraction is the same units as where we began. So add this on anything I'm writing on my screen, you need to be writing on your screen. We have the same units. The top of our fraction will be the new units. That will be gallons. Well, in order to fill out your fraction, you need to use this resource, conversions resource. I know this is a pretty large chart, has a lot of different conversions. You won't use all of them, but I wanted to make sure you had a really good resource. Now, when we're looking for what to put in our fraction, we are looking for one of these sentences, so we're going to have to maybe look at all of the boxes where the units are the same as what we have in our problem. So units are the labels, so like our first one says 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. We're looking for the label or units to be quarts and gallons. As long as they have both of those in that sentence, that's the numbers we need to use. So we're just going to go down this chart. The first one was foot and inches. That doesn't work because we need quarts and gallons. My next one says yard and feet. Doesn't work because we need quarts and gallons. The next one says mile and feet. Doesn't work. Next one, mile and yards. Nope, still not quarts and gallons. Our next one is acre and square feet. Nope. Cup and fluid ounces. Nope. A pint and 2 cups. Nope, because again, I'm looking for quart and gallon. The next one says quart and 2 pints. This still doesn't work because I needed a quart and a gallon as my labels. The next one below that says gallon and quarts. That's exactly what we need because it has the 2 units we need in our problem. So when we go back to our work page, we're going to fill in that there is 1 gallon in our fraction and 4 quarts. So here we're writing there was 1 gallon for every 4 quarts. Our next step is to actually create a unit rate, but we kind of need to do a little extra math first. We got to do the multiplication. So when I say multiply the tops or the numerators, that means multiplying 36 times 1. So we're going to write that out. 36 times 1 is the top of our fraction. The denominator or bottom stays 4 because there's nothing to multiply 4 with. Let's actually do the multiplication. 36 times 1 is 36 over 4. My last step is to divide by the denominator, because what I'm actually doing is creating a unit rate, but with a different units. We're going from unit rate of 30, well, not even unit rate, a rate of 36 quarts to a unit rate using gallons. So we always divide by the denominator. 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 36 divided by 4 is 9. Include your units. The bottom was still quarts, the top was still gallons. When you write your final answer, I want you to write it as what you start with, so 36 quarts, and I'll just write out quarts for now, equals, and what we care about is the final amount in the new units or the new label, which would be 9 gallons. Circle your answer so you don't lose it. Let's do it again. If you didn't already write part B, you need to be doing that now. If you need to pause the video to write it, do so. Next one says converting 48 feet into yards. Label what you're starting with. We're starting with 48 feet. What are our new units? They're going to be yards. So let's start to show our work. We begin with the starting units, 48. And I'm going to abbreviate feet as FT. Then we say times, and we're making a fraction. New units always goes on top, and I'm going to abbreviate yards as YD. Whatever units we start with always go on the bottom. How do we fill out our fraction? Well, we're going to go look at that conversion resource and find a line on there that has both yards and feet. So I'm going to go back to the beginning of my chart and just look straight down. First one said foot and inches. Nope, we needed yard and feet. Our second one, though, says yard and feet. Those are the two units or the two labels that we need. So on our work page, we're going to write 1 yard equals 3 feet. From here, we're going to start to multiply. We're going to do 48 times 1, which is, well, we're actually writing out 48 times 1 over. The 3 is your denominator. It stays the same. What is 48 times 1? That's just 48 over 3. My next step is to create a unit rate. I'm going to do that by dividing by the denominator. Well, 3 divided by 3 is 1. What are my units? They are feet, because that's what the bottom originally was. 48 divided by 3. Now, if you don't know that one, we can write that out. I'm going to write off to the side here. 48 in my house, 3 outside. 3 can go into 4 one time, which is 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. Bring down my 8. 3 can go into 18 6 times, and it goes in perfectly. So 48 divided by 3 is 16. 16 what? Yards. When you write your answer, we are going to write it so that we begin with the starting units, 48 feet, equals, what are the new units we ended with? That was 16 yards. Circle your answer so you don't lose it. Of course, you can always pause the video if you need to. Right now, I'm going to give you a secret code. So at the top of your piece of paper near the title, I need you to write secret code equals math, smiley face. I'll repeat that. Secret code at the top of your page, you're actually writing secret code equals math and a smiley face. One more time. At the top of your piece of paper, you're writing secret code equals math, smiley face. I'm going to be looking for that tomorrow. Last set of problems. We are going to go into box 3. Please pause the video and copy everything in yellow and in pink down right now. Okay, let's get started. We are beginning with 7 pounds and converting into ounces. So we write down what we start with. 7, and the abbreviation for pounds is LBS. Then we say times, and we're making a fraction. The top of our fraction will always be the new units, which is ounces. The bottom of our fraction has to be the same as where we start, pounds. How do I fill out my fraction? I'm going to go use my resource. And I am going to look for a conversion where we have pound and ounces. Pound and ounces. Looking for all these labels, pounds and ounces. Oh, way here at the bottom, I found that we have 1 pound equals 16 ounces. So I'm going to go and fill those numbers in. 1 pound was the same as 16 ounces. My next step is to multiply. 7 times 16 over the bottom, which is 1. Well, I don't know 16 times 7, so I'm going to write that out. 7 times 6 is 42. I carry my 4. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 4 is 12. Oops. 47. Oopsies, I said 12, but I meant 11. My bad. Sleepy morning. So we can actually get 112 on the top of our fraction over the 1 is still there. Don't forget your units in the end. We'll get to that in a moment. Our next step is to make sure for sure we have a unit rate. To do that, we divide by the denominator. Now, some of you might say, well, the denominator is always 1. So do I really have to divide? For now, I want you to be in the habit of dividing just to be absolutely sure that you have a unit rate. Final answer, 1 divided by 1 is 1, and 112 divided by 1 is still 112. What are the units? It's ounces over pounds. Filling in your final answer, you'd write 7 pounds, yeah, that's what you started with, equals, what did you end with? 112 ounces. Okay, and you can always pause the video if you need to keep copying down your stuff. This is the last problem. We are going to convert 5 grams into milligrams. So we start by writing what we begin with, 5 grams. I might as well just write that one out. Times, we're going to make a fraction based off of the new units. New units goes on top. Milligrams. What we start with is what's on the bottom. So we started with grams, so grams stays on the bottom. I now use my resource to fill in the appropriate numbers. Okay, so we're looking for milligrams and grams. Well, I don't think there's anything about milligrams or grams in that first box. So let me look to the right. I'm going to look for milligrams and grams. I'm seeing a kiloliter in liters. Nope. Milliliter in centimeters. No. Ooh, here's one. 1 gram equals 1,000 milligrams. So we're going to take those numbers onto our work page. 1 gram and 1,000 milligrams. From here, we multiply. 5 times 1,000 over 1. Now, if you don't know the trick with multiplying with zeros, so numbers that end in 0, it's really cool. All you do is multiply what I call the normal numbers, so the numbers that aren't 0. So 5 times 1 is 5, and I'm just going to ignore for a moment those 3 zeros. And when I'm done multiplying 5 times 1, Those 3 zeros I just add in at the end of my number to get 5,000. 1 is still there. For peace of mind, please still create a unit rate by dividing by the denominator, which is a 1. 1 divided by 1 is 1. 5,000 divided by 1 is 5,000. You can put your comma in now. I waited until I was done with all of my multiplication before I put my commas in. What are my units? The top is milligrams. The bottom, grams. Write your final answer. We started with 5 grams, and it equals 5,000 milligrams. Circle it so you don't lose it. Of course, you need to pause the video to finish writing. Do so. Your agenda now. You're working on the homework that got passed out. That is an orange worksheet. It is all about conversions and unit rates. And then if you finish, then you are on Dreambox. See you guys tomorrow.